go. A bit of a spicy PVZ. We're out of the mirror matchups for now, for the time being. We'll see how we go.
That we shall. To kick off our series now on Hardwire LE, we're in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have a Red Protoss player coming out from the land of Malaysia. He, of course, is going to be representing that team, Mate Hexa. He is Ranger.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hardwire LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Alpha X. It is RagnaroK. No Forge.
Oh, yeah. I'm a little bit disappointed that he decided to play it off a little safe, but you know, just gotta suss out what your opponent is like, I suppose.
Yeah.
We'll see the Forge in the next game.
I mean, I'll be honest, we didn't even get to talk about the fact that somehow, some way, both of our previous Protoss players, Ranger and Zolgern, they were like on the same wavelength and they cannon rushed each other on Berlingrad. Like, what were the odds of that happening as well? Like, that was crazy.
Really was. Yeah. Just about direct mirrors in the game number 1 that we saw.
But yes. Unfortunately, we don't see any of that here. Ranger is playing this a little bit more straight up, a little bit more standard.
Not even a Forge after the gateway, man. You're killing me.
We save that for GPOs, okay? We save that for StarCraft.
Yeah, apparently, yep.
But yeah, so far everything's pretty chill here. I do have to wonder what Ranger is going to whip out. So something that we didn't really get to talk about is that this is the first time we are casting Ranger this year in 2023. I'm sorry, 2022. And
I also thought it was straight face.
So good. But yeah, it's our first time, and honestly, he's been pretty active. Like, we did kind of miss him last year in 2021, especially the second half of last year. He was, you know, very sporadic with his appearances in weekly tournaments, and he would turn up every now and then, but for the most part, like, he was working on other things, other personal things going on in his life. So yeah, he wasn't really prioritizing StarCraft as much.
Yeah, it really was a shame because he did have a very, very strong end of 2020 and a really strong start to 2021 as well. But yeah, as you were saying, personal commitments and a lot of stuff that he had to take care of did get in the way. So he has, he did sort of fall off towards the end of that year. But now it's all settled. Now it's all stable, shall we say? And he has been practicing a heck of a lot more. He's been streaming semi-regularly, but every now and then when you do go on the NA server or whatnot, you will see him always laddering or playing customs.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Like, every single time I come on, like, I see him online. I see him laddering. I've also been hearing a lot of complaints as well. Like, Pez is like, mate, every time I ladder, I just hit Ranger constantly. I just, what's going on? Give me some variety. Yeah, one of the most active players in our region at the moment when it comes to that ladder. So, and it's kind of been paying off. Like, he has been improving. He is actually getting back into shape, back into form, getting back into, like, peak Ranger.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, he does keep his word. I remember when we first saw him laddering a bunch more, we would always pester him, yo, sign up for weekly events. He's like, not quite yet, you know, guys. I'm not feeling too, I feel like I'm not back in form yet, but now we see him in ESL Asia, so that, at least he's feeling confident again.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of players have access to, and a lot of them don't, right? Players like Demi and Mimika show up every now and then, Rise every now and then, but it's great to see Ranger here for one of the first times. I don't think this is his first time, but again, we don't see him too often, so we'll see how he compares
the first time
to
this year.
Yeah, 100%. First time this year. And we'll see how what his plan is against a player of the caliber of RagnaroK. Obviously, we see the Stargate opener. It is an Oracle first. Unfortunately, though, the Oracle doesn't get too much damage. Does at least deny Creep Tumor. That's kind of it so far.
Yeah, well, he does keep it alive. I say that! Okay. And a second Oracle and even a third Oracle is in production right now. Still a lot more that he can get done. He is kind of throwing away his Adepts unnecessarily, unfortunately.
Yeah, one of them already going down, but he did get 2 drones for his troubles. Meanwhile, now that first Oracle has met up with the second, third is on the way, and immediately we see a second Stargate alongside a Fleet Beacon. So Ranger is embracing that Sky Toss.
Oh, full on. Beautiful target firing here from RagnaroK, taking out the weakened Oracle. This is going to be a lot less for him to worry about as the game goes on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can imagine, we've seen it before. When 3 Oracles show up, mate, they don't care about Queens. Like, they just focus them down, and things can get so much more dangerous. But now Ranger has a lot less to worry about.
Exactly, and he's going to have a lot more trouble trying to get some damage. Another great target fire from RagnaroK, but unfortunately not quite able to take out that that Oracle.
Oh my god, no, the target fire!
No.
Oh!
That's a high energy Oracle too.
Yeah. Oh god. This is the thing, like with a 3 Oracle opener already losing 2 of them, the problem with this as well is that when you open up like this, it's safe to take a faster base because you have 3 Oracles and they mow through Lings when they go for run bys. Now he doesn't have that available to him. Sure, there are some cannons and some shield batteries, but again, like he must be feeling a lot less safe. But not for much longer because he is working on those carriers.
Yeah, that's definitely one way to shut down the Lings. Not quite Corruptus though, unfortunately. And RagnaroK gets perfect eyes on top of all this. He is making sure that he's not in the dark at all, and he's continuing to keep Ranger in the dark with these Lings.
Yeah, exactly. The Lings are already getting set up as well, just in case there's ever a skirmish here outside the bases. Right, Ranger is trying to take a 4th base, but immediately the Lings just pounce on that, deny the base, and there's not really much that Ranger can do. He just doesn't have an army. Like, this is his army, a handful of Adepts, and finally these carriers.
Yeah, it's really tricky right now. Unfortunately for Ranger, he did decide to prioritize those carriers instead of the Void Race first, so he also can't really do anything to harass RagnaroK or to keep him down. I mean, there's literally 0 pressure on him right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like RagnaroK, this is the scary thing about Zerg in ZvP, is that you can't just let them do this. He's just expanding and droning up freely. On top of that, he's also denying bases, and because he recognized, hold on, you skipped your Void Rays, I'm just gonna go Mass Corruptor, and they can just A-move across the map, and what's gonna stop them?
Yeah, we don't have any Archons or, again, Void Rays from earlier on. That's always a risk that you take when you're cutting corners like that as a Protoss player, and in this case, the risk did not pay off at all for Ranger.
Exactly, we still have non-stop carriers, we have a 3rd Stargate that's about to finish up. Finally, we're getting some AoE with a Disruptor, but again, Disruptors are not going to help against these Corruptors. Corruptors just making a beeline for the main base, and there aren't any carriers, but there is production. Oh my god, there's even the Nexus!
Yeah, the Nexus still has quite a lot of meat on its bones, quite a lot of minerals that it can still mine from. Now it's taken out the Nexus, so no recall available there, no mining happening there either.
Yeah, 1 Nexus goes down immediately, so Ranger now stuck on 2 base economy, essentially, at this point. And oh my god, the carriers, no, they're getting picked off 1 by 1!
One after the other. You have 1 shield battery, but that ain't exactly gonna cut it. 1 Disruptor on the ground, really wishing it could shoot up, but it can't. It's not an Archon, even though it wants to be.
Yeah, again, Ranger making a very smart choice, identifying the weaknesses of Ranger's build and his army composition, and just like that, GG gets called.
RagnaroK into game number 1. Yeah. I guess that... I mean, there was a lot of things going right for RagnaroK that game, a lot of things going wrong for Ranger, but I kind of want to harken back to all those Oracles, right? That Ranger lost early on. 3 Oracles, they're pretty tanky, but you still have to babysit them. You can't set them and forget them like with Adepts or what have you.
Yeah, like they serve such a great purpose when it comes to keeping the economy of the Zerg player in check, right? Maybe killing off a couple of queens, at least keeping an eye on the tech, scouting and recognizing that there is going to be a Spire And then taking that information and being like, okay, corruptors should be on the way, or at least mutas or something, right? Like, I need to prepare for this. I can't just make carriers.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just really hoping that RagnaroK would play a little bit predictably, wouldn't play that reactively, but that's not RagnaroK. I mean, there was ever a Zerg player out there to play predictably or to play a more active style, it ain't RagnaroK. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there are ways to play this style as Protoss, but, you know, instead of taking up towards something like Disruptors, you know, maybe prioritizing something like Archons could benefit you a little bit more instead. You know, something to help support those fragile carriers.
Oh yeah, it's not something you hear every day, but surprisingly, yeah, carriers are very fragile if they don't have a buffer. Anyway, we are going to be continuing our series now onto Curious Minds LE. We're in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner. We, of course, have our red Protoss player coming out from the land of Malaysia. He is going to be representing Mate Hexa, or M8 Hexa, if you're not a true Aussie, like me. He is Ranger.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Curious Minds LE, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing Alpha X. Currently up in this series, it is RagnaroK.
No Forge first. Once again, but you know,
I like how that's what you're focusing on. You're like, man, I just want my cannons, okay?
Look, you can't just, you know, inject hot six into your veins and then go cold turkey, right? You gotta wean yourself off. You'll be like, okay, this game I'm not gonna go Forge first, but I'll go Gateway Forge, and then the next game after that, I'm not gonna go Gateway Forge, but I will get the Forge after the Cybercore. That.
I'll do my best to try and get you a Haas game later on, okay? We'll get you your fix.
That's not how Haas plays anymore.
True. We'll figure it out. Oh god. But yeah, again, we're not seeing much different here so far from Ranger, but I also respect that as well, right? If he is taking practice seriously, if he's taking ladder seriously, then this is a good opportunity to test out your builds and test out your styles against some of the best players in the world.
Yeah. Let's get weekly tournaments. They are some of the best practice you can really get in a competitive setting. I mean, it's the mindset alone, you have a little bit of series preparation involved and whatnot. Yeah, the atmosphere alone is just different from laddering random games or playing custom games against teammates.
Yeah, you've got the veto process, you've got the pressure of, you know, making sure that you don't forget WCS game heart. It's
otherwise you'll get yelled at, steal, he will appear.
He will. It's a terrifying thing. But we'll see if he does go into that triple oracle once again, as immediately, as soon as the adept leaves, the two lings do run in, and can they get a probe? Up.
Not quite yet, but it will get a pretty nice scout.
And a lot of lost mining time. Ranger, please. Ranger,
that's
these probes!
Yeah, that's
Ranger.
a lot of lost mining.
Ranger, oh no!
That's about the perfect opening you can get right now if you're RagnaroK.
Exactly.
He even does get a probe.
He does. One probe goes down. Finally, another adept rocks up here in the main base, and the lings will get cleaned up.
Adept? No, that's the same adept. That's a scouting adept.
Oh, it came back.
No. Everything's going right for RagnaroK.
Yeah, that was a little bit yikes, not gonna lie. A lot of economic damage done already, you can see. And, God. From here, Ranger, it looks like he's gonna do something different, and he goes straight into a Twilight Council.
Oh! Twilight Council and the Robo Bay immediately thrown down. I'm smelling some glaives.
Oh, yeah. Definitely could be glaives. We'll keep an eye on a couple of things here. I mean, gases are still being prioritized. All 4 gases, actually. Is he crazy enough to throw down a Dark Shrine? Oh, no,
Okay.
It's along the same lines, though.
Yeah. It produces a Templar unit, you know? Just the high one. Not the dark one.
Yeah, instead of the dark one. That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, yo, he could just try and mix things up and go for like a DT drop into Archons. It looks like he may still go for an Archon drop, but just in a different way.
Yeah, which I mean, I'm trying to think of what the rationalization, what the thought process here is for Rangers. So instead of Dark Templar, he's gonna go for High Templar or just Archons in general. And they are more gas intensive, but they're very cheap mineral wise. Is this? I'm just trying to think what he's going to be using those minerals for.
Yeah. I imagine that because of this, he may just go straight into charge as well to help support those Archons, right? Just go straight into charge the Archon.
Yeah, that's an idea.
Yeah. I think regardless, though, I'm really curious just because this is very outside the norm of what we typically see in this matchup in current meta.
Which I'm all for personally, but
yeah.
yeah, I have my doubts as to whether or not it'll work.
Oh, the misclick! He warped in a sentry!
No. One fewer Archon for him.
Yeah, exactly, because he only had 4 gates, so now he has to wait for another gate. Okay. Not like this.
Yeah. Well, at least Chrono Boost was able to help him out a little bit there.
Alright, well, the Archon drop is coming. There is that charge we were talking about alongside +1. So far, I believe none of this has been scouted, so this is going to be a little bit of a surprise to Ranger, and maybe because of that, damage can be done. And we have a couple of adepts that are shading into the third.
And they're doing their job. They're distracting the roaches, and they're buying time for these Archons to get in position. But so many queens are here! And they have plenty of transfuse energy. Ranger doesn't want to get too close because he's worried about his warp prism falling. And it almost does. No, Ranger.
Oh my god.
Okay, there are 8 queens here.
Yeah, he's not done. He's here at the third base. But the problem is that RagnaroK, he doesn't even care, mate. Oh god. As he's across the map with his own queens, with his Ravagers. You thought there were a lot of queens in the main. Mate, that was only half of them. The rest of them are across the map.
And they are back with a vengeance. They're taking out just about everything over here. We have Immortals right now, right? Because he got the Templar Archive, so he couldn't afford a Hirobo Bay. It's unfortunate here for Ranger. Couldn't get Disruptors out.
Oh. Even the surround on those things was absolutely insane. The Ravager Biles do connect with the entirety of the army, and there's nothing remaining. GG gets called. And Ranger takes a clean sweep here. RagnaroK. Oh god, I did it. RagnaroK takes a clean sweep. 2-0.
GG. About, I suppose, to be RagnaroK's here. It's like, yeah, RagnaroK versus Ragnar. 2-0. Even he's getting confused. But yeah, I guess that was the expected outcome here for the series that we just had. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely do think that it was weird the builds Ranger went for. I'm sure they probably do work out for him when he's laddering or when he is playing customs. But you know, there were a couple of little build order mistakes that he did do here and there, which definitely didn't help in game number 2.
Yeah, game number 2 was an odd one. it was an odder one. Game 1, I mean, it felt like overall, like the game plan for Ranger, it did make sense. You know, he had it all laid out. But yeah, just babysitting those carriers, because I think a good example of this is I think it was Dark versus Zaun Super Tournament semifinals. Zaun did the exact same thing, except when Dark showed up with all those Corruptors, Zaun had like a bunch of shield batteries and cannons at his third, and he hid, or he just kept his carriers there. So the Corruptors rocked up, they tried to dive in, but like they couldn't because the cannons would stop them. There was overcharge as well. Like Zaun was very careful to make sure that those carriers were safe enough until there was enough, you know, Archons or Void Rays to keep them alive.
I think that's one thing that is unfortunately consistent with Ranger here in both game number 1 and game number 2 is that he was cutting a lot of corners. He was being way too greedy for his opponent right now.
Mm-hmm.
Against, more defensive players, I'm sure it does work out, but not a very reactive player like RagnaroK, who, if he sees a single opportunity, is going straight for it.
Yeah, yeah. To be fair, you could also argue that, hey, maybe he felt like he needed to cut those corners and take those chances, right, against a player like RagnaroK. So it can always be a difficult position to be in, definitely. But, oh my god, like the players, they're quick with their vetoes, mate.
They are. We already have our round of 8. I mean, I was already surprised that we had an opponent, let alone them finishing up their vetoes. But yeah, we are going to be jumping into RagnaroK versus Nice next.